Well, when I was 9 years old, my dad started taking me to a church. It was called Bethel Baptist Church, and my Uncle Benny was a pastor there. I don't remember exactly where it was at, and I don't remember. We had been going for a few weeks, and I don't remember exactly what the sermon was about, but I do remember realizing that I was a sinner and that I needed Jesus in my life. And so I went to the altar and I got saved that day, and a few weeks later, my Uncle Benny baptized me. And man, I wish that I could say that that was the beginning of my being righteous and Christian journey, and it was. But after that, I made quite a few bad choices, and so um, I rededicated my faith when this last time that I went to prison, and I got rebaptized by one of the preachers there. He was actually an inmate there, but he was a ordained preacher, and um, it was just an awesome experience to do that as an adult. So I guess it started with directly answered prayers. Like my whole time, I used to be a drug addict and alcoholic, and the whole time in my addiction, I never felt right. I knew something was wrong, and I just couldn't change it on my own. And I started praying, God, get me out of this situation, God. And so I was living in a tent in the woods, homeless. And I prayed. I said, God, I'm done with this life. I'm done. And um, I reached out to my brother. He got me into the Hope House, and this was before it was all drug court. And I did okay for a few weeks, and then I wound up relapsing, getting drunk, and did some stupid stuff, and wound up getting put in prison again. And but I think that was a prayer answered. I think that was what was necessary for me to get my act together. And also, the prison that I was sent to was probably the best prison that anybody could ever hope for. They had a very good church program there. We had recovery programs, and I really got into prayer, got into reading my Bible, and just everything that I've prayed for since then, God has either answered for me or He's let me know that it's coming in its due time. So directly answered prayers has really grown my faith. We were doing Bible studies, and we had church services and stuff. And I think it really come to me in a Bible study. I don't really remember exactly what we were studying, but I remember it's what we were studying, the history of Israel and how many times they fell away, and then and how God promised each time, and He said that if all you got to do is call out to me and turn from your wicked ways, and I will restore you. I will restore you back to your land and back to your land of promise. And I just got to thinking about that. It's like that's really what I need. You know, I need to let God know that I'm serious about it this time, and I need to dedicate my time to Him. And that's all I had at the time was time. You know, and so I started helping others and everything. And then we was at church one day, and he was talking about they had baptisms, and I was like, well, I'm going to make it a public profession of faith. Jesus did it, and He's our example, and that's so I think that's why I made that decision, and it's been the best decision of my life ever since then. Like, God's opened up so many doors and so many windows. I never thought that in 2023, whenever I was living in a tent in the woods, that I would be the manager at the Hope House, and with a good job, and leading Bible study at the Hope House, and just, I mean, God has given me so many wonderful spiritual gifts that I just couldn't even imagine that for my life. Um, Read the Pauline letters, the letters that were written by Paul. A lot of those letters he wrote from inside prison, and he was a man that was um, used to be Saul, and he used to persecute Christians, and he was just going completely against Christ, and God turned him around to be one of the most spiritual leaders of in history, and like reading some of those letters and knowing the history and the background of them, and really studying them and getting into them, it is really uplifting, and it helps you know that like this man, like he didn't even know when he was getting out of prison, and he talks about how we're strongest when we're weak. And I think that's why God sent me down into prison. Because when you're in prison, you wake up when they tell you to wake up. You go to bed when they tell you to go to bed. You eat when they tell you to eat. You have no no power of your own. You have to obey rules, and you're completely vulnerable, like a kid. And that's how God wants us to come to Him, as like a kid. And so, um, don't try to do it on your own. Reach out to God, and His Word is so powerful. He's got so many stories in the Bible of people that were nobody, but God's seen them. They were somebody. God made them somebody, um, and I feel like that's what He can do for all of us. Is if you stop trying to do things in your own power and let God be your strength. Choosing to be a member at this church, I think, is one of the best decisions I ever made. Everyone here is so pleasant. They're so warming. They call you out by name. They hug you. I mean, just like they're always welcoming. I mean, and it doesn't matter who walks through that door. I've seen several people walk through that door, and they're like, "Hey, I'm glad to have you here." And I've been to many churches, and you don't get that everywhere. And but yeah, um, that's another thing too, that advice I would give is find a good church family. Find someone to connect with, a place to belong. Second Baptist might not be that place for you, but everyone's got a place where they belong. Just want to say that I'm honored to be here, and I love y'all, and I hope this helps somebody.